I don't know, it's Tom. Well, let's think back here now. Everybody and their mother's talking about the SHTF, right? Bug out bags, bob bags. I need a haircut. You name it, they're talking about it. So, with that in mind, you're going to have to learn the older skills. Like Blackie Thomas and Bear. They have a thing called the Old Ways over on Blackie's channel. And they talk about, how things were bartering, stuff like that, because we grew up with that. They grew up with it more than I did, but I grew up with like my mother bartering for fruits and vegetables. Um, just I remember she made a guy a double plaid shirt, which is 2 layers of plaid, whatever you want to call it, um, in lieu of like 4 bushels of peaches to can. So I grew up with some of it, but they grew up with a lot more of it. Um, my mom, she made soup. She made probably 2, 3 gallons at a time, and we had it for dinner. She'd put a little bit in the refrigerator the next day for lunches and stuff, and then the rest she'd freeze. So, when you needed soup in the wintertime or whatever, you didn't have time to cook, you pulled it out of the freezer. But there was no microwaves then. So how did John thaw this? Well, you either left it on the counter and let it thaw naturally, or you put it in a double boiler in a pot of water. But when it unthawed, you put it back in the pot and warmed it up. Simple as that. I used to make chicken soup, and it'd be so thick it'd be like chicken, I don't know, chicken concrete for the rice and stuff. And so I'd put that in the refrigerator, and you actually had to add water or chicken broth to it to make it soup again. You could eat it thick like that, or you could put a little less water in and get more like a chicken gumbo, chicken stew kind of thing. So there's a lot of things you can do, and you got to learn these older things to do. Because when this shit does hit the fan, not saying it will, but I said when it does, if it does, hopefully it never will. There's a lot of things you're going to need to know. How to preserve food. How to keep your home running. How to wash clothes without a washer or dryer. How to preserve meat and whatnot from, deer and squirrels, fish, whatever you catch. Smoked meat is nice, but you can only eat so much of it. We need variety in our life. So there's a lot of things to learn. Now, with that being said, but the books we've been reading, like last book review I did on the country doctor, there's going to be doctors around, but what if you don't have anything to barter? So you're going to need to know all the little tricks and trades of home remedies so that you can just get by. Now, I know this is, there's a lot of people out there really believing this SHTF stuff. I don't. I don't really think we'll see it in our lifetime because, 3 generations ago they were talking about it. We still haven't seen it. But never kills you to be prepared. And if you have the time and you're older, like I am, and now, and my wife, this is a way to save money. Let's just say we spent $15 making a gigantic pot of soup. I have a 7-quart crock pot, I think it is, or a stock pot, I mean. And I think the crock pot's 7 quarts too. So I make that full of stew. We can't eat 7 quarts of stew. I don't know. Even, looking at me, I still can't eat 7 quarts of stew. So what we would have for this night for dinner and for lunch tomorrow probably, and the rest, what are we going to do with it? Well, if we can, and we had the time to can, we could probably put up, 4 to 5 quarts of stew. Now, in my apartment, I don't have room for it, but it's a good possibility we could put that much up. Or, deer, or beef, or pork, or anything like that. You learn how to can meats, you can put meats away. Vegetables are one thing, and you can can them, you can freeze them, you can do whatever you want to. But meats is another thing. I think meats are going to be a priority because I don't think you're going to get a whole lot off the land. Mostly because there's you and 80,000 other people trying to shoot one deer. So, but that's going to be a priority. Protein's going to be a priority. So you can get protein from protein powder. You don't need meat. So yeah, I haven't seen anybody really in their stocking up, seeing anything about protein supplements. You're going to need them. You got to have them to live. How about fruits? Not like peaches and pears and stuff like that. How about like strawberries, grapes, blueberries, stuff like that? Put them up. The blueberries are free. You can go just about any place here in Pennsylvania on public land even and pick blueberries and raspberries. Now the wild strawberries, they used to be called dewberries, but they're really tiny. You need like 2,000 of them to make a quart. That's exaggeration, but if you can get to them before the deer do, you'll see what I mean. So these are things you got to think about. How to preserve meat with lard. How to make lard. How to dig a root cellar properly. Because if you dig a root cellar and it won't stay consistent cold or consistent temperature, it's not a root cellar. It's just a hole in the ground. How to dig a well. If there's no power, like everybody's saying, and the grid goes down, wells are useless because you need a pump to get the well water out. So how do you dig a well? Just dig in the ground. Not necessarily, no. So there's a lot of things to learn outside of just I'm going to put up a lot of foods. I'm going to shoot at people with my AR-15. I'm going to going to become G.I. Joe overnight and go play The Walking Dead or whatever. A lot of other things to learn besides that. I mean, they're all good skills, yes, but there's a lot of other things to learn. And we should start learning them now before it actually gets to the point where we need them. So with that being said, a lot of it being said, we're on the book series, right? So let me get this readjusted here. There we go. A good friend of mine, Cal, from Cal's Treks and Trails, he called me up one day. He said, "Hey, I got a present for you." So what's that? He said, "I'll bring it down." I said, "Okay." And when he did, he wound up bringing me this. This is The Lost Ways. It's edited and copyrighted by Claude Davis, and it's from askaprepper.com. Now, I haven't got over there to see, but it's an interesting sounding site, askaprepper.com. The next crisis for all we prep for is what folks 150 years ago called daily life, which is true. No electric, no refrigerators, no internet, no computers, no TV, hyperactive law enforcement, no safety or Walmart. Safeway, I'm sorry, or Walmart. They got things done or else they wouldn't be here. So this says, the lost ways you'll find long forgotten secrets that helped our ancestors survive famines, wars, economic crisis, disease, droughts, anything else that life might throw at them. So let's look at the table of contents. Here, table of contents, come on. Here we go. We're getting close. Okay, now Ask a Prepper is www.askaprepper.com. If you're looking for this book in the library, the ISBN number is 978-0-692-11197-0. Okay. Of course, the disclaimer said this book is just a supply of knowledge. It's not to impart. This is what you should do. All right. The Lost Ways. Your first chapter is preserving food. Here we go. No, actually, the first chapter is how to prepare natives, how North American natives and early pioneers made pemmican, the nutritional qualities and the directions, how much of it will I need, survival foods of the Civil War, how to make hardtack biscuits, how to render lard, how to render lard, preserving meat for a year with lard, how to make chonos. It's an Inca survival food. Why they preserved food in Inca culture. Freeze first. Place in the sun. Refreeze. Repeat in the sun. Let harden. I guess that's a recipe for something. Lost Pioneer recipes. I mean, there is a pile of recipes. Vinegar lemonade, hot water cornbread, potato pancakes, pepper and eggs, dumplings, beans and ham hocks, milk toast, skillet trout, soda biscuits, Johnny Mormon cakes, spotted pup. Dog makes a fine meal. Spider cornbread, mud apples, and Georgia pasta. There's probably 50 recipes in here. How pioneers built their smokehouses, step-by-step guide to building it. How to smoke meat the right way. How sailors of the 17th century preserved water on their ships for months on end. How pioneers dug their well and procured fresh water. How to dig and build your own well like the pioneers, step-by-step instructions. Edible plants you can find in the wild, and there's a bunch of them, so we're not going to get into them. But there's, what, 2, 3, 4 pages full of edible plants. Trapping in the winter for beaver and muskrat. I don't know if you ever had it, but beaver is, muskrat is delicious. Muskrat tastes a lot like beef. Why our forefathers trapped the best places too, their local habitats and the type of traps you'll need. Finding land trails. Hunting deer basics. Behavior of different seasons, how to set up after the harness the hide. Canning hides. How to tan hides. How to make charcoal. How to make activated charcoal. How to make a gas mask with activated charcoal. How to make a water filter with activated charcoal. 2 or 3 methods. How to make pills for intoxications. Activated charcoal is great if you get poisoned or you're sick to the stomach or something. It calms your sick stomach and it will it'll sop up poisons and stuff. How Northern California Native Americans built their semi-subterranean roundhouses. Step-by-step instructions. How the sheriffs of frontiers defended their villages and towns. Why do I need that? Because you're going to need to know how to defend your little town, your local militia group, or even just your house. Wild West guns for SHTF, a guide to rolling your own ammo. Reloading components, how to cast bullets, how to make your own gunpowder. Ancestors' Guide to Root Cellars, the history, the right space for the job, and creating the ideal conditions. Storage ideas, things that do not belong in a root cellar. Things that do and do not belong. Okay. Old-fashioned cooking on an open flame, cast iron cooking, roasting meats, Dutch ovens, recipes for past and the future. meat pies, top mock turtle soup, wassail, apple pie, a bunch of recipes. How to sharpen your blades like the samurais did. How to make wax cheese. How to make wild lettuce extract. It's a painkiller. It's like an opium, but without an opium base. So, number 4 in the series, The Lost Ways. I think this is one of the books you gotta have in your library. I think there's another one. There's The Lost Ways too, but I'm not sure. But this is a book you have to have in your library. With the information and knowledge I just showed you here, you're not going to be able to remember all of it because we don't live a lifestyle like they lived. But if you have it in a book, you can always go back and refer to it like, okay, I shot a deer. What do I do? Well, you got to preserve it. You got to smoke it. Well, how do we do that? Same thing with fish. You can smoke fish and preserve it. So, hey, this has been a long video, but it was a good one. So, this is Tom. I want to thank you for your time and your patience. Don't forget to like the video and share it out. The more you hit the like button, the more the algorithm picks it up. And we'll see you guys on the next one.